AITA for refusing to visit my dad and brother in the hospital after years of being ignored during my own stays. I'm 19M, the middle kid in a biggie-ish family. Older brother, early 20s, older sister, also early 20s, and two younger siblings who are still in high school. I've had health issues my whole life, both a heart condition and a kidney condition. They tag team to make my immune system their personal playground. So as a kid and into my teens, I spent a lot of time in hospitals. For polls, beeping monitors, the smell of sanitizer, that was my normal. What wasn't normal was how alone I was. One parent would show up for the doctor's rounds like they were punching a time card, then head right back to work or home. My siblings? If I squinted, I could pretend the blinking lights on the monitors were them waving from across the room, because that's as close as I got to seeing them. Visits were rare, short, and usually came with a sigh. The people who did show up were my best friend turned boyfriend and his family. If the hospital didn't allow kids to visit, his parents came instead. When I finally had a phone, they called every night. They brought me homework, snacks, gossip, stupid memes, and this feeling that I mattered. And yes, it got serious at one point. Like, we don't know if he'll recover serious. Even then, no parent stayed. A hospital social worker kept checking on me because I was a minor and very alone. Imagine being that kid, pressing the nurse call button not because you're in pain, but because you just want someone to talk to. When I'd get discharged, I try to explain how much it hurt. My siblings shrugged. Why would we want to be there? My parents said they had more than me to worry about, that being sick meant I had to grow up fast, and that I wasn't the center of their universe. Message received. My illnesses were a burden, and so was I. After a surgery when I was 17, my boyfriend and his parents stayed the entire time. My parents left not long after I was wheeled to recovery. My boyfriend's parents asked if I could move in with them so I wouldn't keep recovering alone. My parents basically said, sure, like they were lending out a lawnmower. I moved in. I've been pretty much no contact ever since. Fast forward to recently, my dad and older brother were in a serious accident. It made the local news. They were in surgery for hours, then in the hospital for weeks. Phones started lighting up. Family group chat pinging with updates, missed calls, voicemails. I muted everything and stared at my screen like it had personally wronged me. I kept thinking about hospital rooms, mine, not theirs. The quiet at night when the hall lights go dim and the machines turn into a low lullaby of beeps. The ache of wanting to hear your mom's voice reading a text message out loud because she couldn't sleep either. The way the door opens and you hope it's someone who loves you and not another phlebotomist coming to take more blood. My boyfriend sat beside me on the couch, scrolling through the same updates I was ignoring. Do you want to go? He asked, gentle. He knows how deep the hurt goes. He was there when it was fresh. I don't know, I said, which was true and also a lie. I knew exactly why I didn't want to go. I didn't want to stand at the foot of their beds and pretend we were a normal family, that we had always done this for each other. I didn't want to walk into a room and be greeted like prodigal son returns, with everyone pretending the last decade hadn't happened. More calls. My aunt, who used to drop off casseroles when I was little, left a voicemail. Sweetheart, your dad's asking about you. It would mean a lot if you visited. I stared at my phone so hard I felt dizzy. I remembered would mean a lot as a phrase that never quite seemed to apply to me. Days passed. The updates shifted from critical to stable. Then came the message that felt like a trap and a slap at the same time. We're upset you haven't visited. You expected everyone to show up for you all those years, and now you won't even come once. That's from my older sister, the queen of, OMG, why would we want to be there? I typed and deleted so many replies. The one that stuck in my head was petty, and also honest. I wanted my family when I was a child in a hospital bed. You're grown men. You have each other. I didn't send it. I muted the chat again and set my phone face down. I didn't visit. Here's where I admit the part that has me spiraling. I know the accident was serious. I know hospitals and worry and waiting. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, not even people who hurt me. There's a human baseline of empathy I still have, even after everything. But there's also the kid I used to be, sick, scared, staring at the doorway, waiting for parents who showed up for the doctor's updates like a meeting and then vanished. The teenager who learned to save his questions for when his boyfriend's mom arrived because she would sit down, take his hand, and ask, what did they say today? Do you want me to write it down? The young man who, after a major surgery, watched his partner's dad doze in a plastic chair because someone finally stayed. I kept asking myself, what does being the bigger person actually mean here? Is it swallowing your history in the name of family? Or is it protecting the self you fought like hell to build? When they say lead by example, I hear, do the emotional labor we've refused to do. When they say you expected us to visit you, I hear, your childhood needs were selfish, ours are justified. If I had visited, it would have been for them, not for me. And maybe that's what love is sometimes. But love that never reciprocates starts to feel like self-erasure. I don't owe anyone the sacrifice of my healing to prove I'm not bitter. I can be compassionate and still have boundaries. That's where I landed. I stayed home. I texted one aunt privately that I was glad they were stable and I hoped they recovered well. That's it. My phone did not stop. My older sister sent paragraphs about blood is thicker than water, which is funny considering her attendance record when I was the one with wristbands and IVs. My mom sent a clipped message that read like an HR memo. We're disappointed in your choice. Your father is hurt. No, how are you? No, we know this is complicated. My younger siblings were quieter. The youngest, my sister, sent a single heart emoji to an old photo of us. I don't know what that means, but it felt gentler than everything else. My boyfriend's family rallied the way they always do. His mom made tea and said, "Your feelings are not a courtroom where you have to prove your pain beyond a reasonable doubt." His dad added, "And you're not a hypocrite for refusing to reenact a past that hurt you." My boyfriend mostly just held me and let me be angry and sad and numb, sometimes all in the same hour. A couple of friends said I should have gone just once to close the loop or set a new tone. I get why that sounds reasonable, but I also think I've spent years setting tones that no one listened to. So that's where I'm at. Two people who didn't sit by my bed when I needed them are now in beds themselves, and I didn't go. I don't feel triumphant. I don't feel like I won. I feel like I chose the only option that didn't rip open a wound I've been stitching closed since I was a kid. I'm not looking for a pile-on. I'm honestly asking AITA for not visiting my dad and brother in the hospital, given how they treated me during my own hospital stays. What should I do now? Update. It's been a couple of weeks, and a few things have changed. First, my dad and brother are home. Physically, they're okay-ish, lots of follow-up appointments, some mobility stuff for my dad, and my brother won't be driving for a while. No one in my immediate family reached out directly to tell me this. I heard from the same aunt who kept me in the loop before. She's been the only person to talk to me like a person and not a PR disaster. My mom eventually sent a longer message. It wasn't an apology, but it wasn't the cold HR memo tone either. She wrote that she regrets how distant they were during my hospitalizations and that they did what they thought they had to do, with work and the other kids. She said she hoped I could move forward and be there for family milestones. There was a line about parents aren't perfect, which landed wrong because it felt like an umbrella over a hurricane, but I can admit it's probably the closest I'll get to an acknowledgement for now. My older sister, on the other hand, doubled down. She texted that I'm performing trauma for attention and that everyone had a hard time. I didn't respond. I finally blocked the family group chat and asked my aunt to keep me updated individually if something major happens. She agreed. The unexpected part, my dad called me. He sounded tired, older. He said, "I heard you didn't come." I get it. He didn't make excuses. He didn't ask me to apologize. He said, "We weren't there for you like we should have been. I thought you were strong enough to handle it." That wasn't fair. I didn't know what to say. I told him I was glad he was okay. We sat in that quiet for a bit, the kind I remember from hospital rooms, except this time, it wasn't empty. Before he hung up, he said, "When you're ready, I'd like to see you. No pressure. I'm not sprinting back, but I'm considering coffee in a neutral place, with my boyfriend there if I want. I'm setting conditions. No you owe us. No rewriting history. No making me the villain because I built a boundary. If they can meet me where I am, maybe there's room for a tiny bridge. If not, I can keep loving people who've been loving me all along. I still don't think I was wrong not to visit. I think I chose myself. But I also think healing isn't a straight line. It's a weird spiral where sometimes you pass by the same landmarks and see them differently. If I do meet my dad, it'll be because I want closure on my terms, not because I've been guilted into a performance of good son for an audience that never showed up when I needed them. That's the update. I'm open to advice on how to handle that coffee if it happens, and how to keep my boundaries solid without turning into a wall.